What's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. And I just want to point out that I am so sorry if I spoiled the game for anybody. You know what happens when your game gets spoiled? You have to go and spoil everybody else's game. I was simply typing in Taylor's name to find out some information with regards to tags and hashtags for my YouTube video. And as I did that, out of nowhere, this amazing, this crazy thumbnail pops up, and it just shows me that Taylor won. And then I look at the timestamp, and it shows 3 hours ago. So immediately, I knew that it was legit and that Taylor actually won. Before we talk about that, this episode is brought to you by the Really Hood Podcast. That's my podcast, available everywhere, and also brought to you by Broken Heart Shirts, which is my clothing line. Check it out. All right, so if you don't know, this was a endurance competition, and this is actually a re-record because my last stream was pretty choppy, and I hate leaving those choppy live streams out there. YouTube has to fix that. But the point is, I talked about this, and I want you to go and prove me wrong. There's a video on my page that I recorded maybe 5 hours ago in which I pick my top 3 people to win the endurance competition. And this is before the live stream displays who wins. In fact, the name of that episode is called BB24 Episode 17 Preview. If you think I'm lying about anything I'm saying, go watch that video in its entirety. And I picked 3 people to win the HOH last night. Last night. And here are my 3 probables. I said that the winner would most likely be Kyle, Taylor, or Turner. And I picked these 3 players primarily because of their body types. I knew that this wall would lean forward almost at a 90 or even more degree angle. And I figured that if that had happened, smaller players, slimmer players would have an advantage because you would have to try to maintain and hold your weight up. I said that this challenge might be very difficult for like a player like maybe Terrence, a little bit older, hard to keep his grip. So I called it out. Now, one thing I did during that episode was, of those 3 probables, I still selected the player who I perceived to be the stronger of the 3 to win. And I'll be honest, I selected Kyle because I felt that it was his time to shine. For me, Kyle has been right there on the cusp of being a really strong player in the game, but he hasn't really shown up just yet. So I figured this would be his moment. But you know, if you watch that episode, you definitely hear me say that Taylor has a shot. She has a lot to prove. And wow, if I can be honest, I didn't necessarily believe myself when I picked Taylor as a probable. But who cares what I thought or what I believe? Taylor proved the world wrong or right, because some people had to be pulling for Taylor. And with her being the HOH, we have to go ahead and just talk about it. You know how many different types of Lay's potato chips are going to be inside of her HOH room? Like, come on. And I'm pretty sure the minute she walks out the house, she has a Lay's endorsement just waiting for her. But Taylor wins HOH. I don't know the particulars, but I'll tell you what I saw in this person's video, okay? She was the last person on the wall. The wall was completely just filled with paint. And you've learned, or at least you learn to expect that from these type of competitions. Usually they throw all the different types of paint at you, things of that nature. So apparently this was no different. Taylor was drenched in different color paints, and she had to have zoned out because when she finds out that she won or win, or I'm sleepy, I'm sorry. When she finds out that she's won, she almost can't believe it herself. So she's like, she echoes it like, wait, I won? I won, and then she just falls off the wall. And the most funny is like dead person fall, ragdoll fall, and you know, she just lies in this confetti-like material. Apparently, these are some things that was thrown at the players while they were on the wall. So she lies in this confetti-like material with paint all over the place. And somebody comes over to console her. I want to say I saw Turner. Okay, I'm not exactly sure, but I think I saw Turner come over and give her some kind of like hug or kind of like good job. But you can tell that she's zoned out because for about 3 or 4 seconds, which is a long time in this kind of competition, she doesn't even know she's won. It's almost like she opened her eyes and took her headphones off, like, wait, I won? Everybody's gone? And that's how she won. So I'm expecting to see, when they show the edit of this episode, I'm expecting to see her zone out and maybe even talk about how she zoned out while she's doing her diary entries. So with her being the HOH, let's talk about the implications. For number one, this is huge. If you know, then you know that Taylor will inevitably be responsible for the first six players to leave the game. Okay, those players being Paloma, uh, Amira, Nicole, Daniel, and Pooch. That's five. And because she's the HOH, that means she'll also have a hand in whoever goes home sixth. Okay, I'll talk about who I think those players are, but can we just give her a moment and just say this is unprecedented for one player to be responsible for so many players going home in a game? That's incredible, and I think at this point we can safely say it is a two-person race to win this game. Michael or Taylor. I mean, pick your poison. You got a person who can socialize you out the game in Michael. You got a person in Michael who can destroy you in any competition. And in fact, it was probably to Taylor's benefit that Michael did not um, compete in this week's HOH. But then again, Michael is starting to realize that he's becoming a bigger and bigger target, especially after Daniel blows up his game on his way out. So maybe even if Michael is in this competition, he still kind of plays it safe and say, let me give it to Taylor and let her get some blood on her hands. Because at this point, that is one of Michael's biggest flaws. He's winning so much that nobody else is getting any blood on their hands. So in a surprise and very weird way, if he's if he's in the final with Taylor, people might side with Taylor. For one, there's only leftovers really left in the house, with the exception of maybe a few people, or maybe a Jasmine or Indy, in terms of people who don't like Taylor. And then most of Taylor's most biggest enemies are gone. I mean, the top six people who disliked her are out of the house. And and of course Terrence doesn't like her. I didn't really speak on him. I forget he's in the game sometime. I mean, anyway, the point is, Michael's getting so much blood on his hands that might be he's going to definitely target Taylor. Okay, we saw how quick he was to target Monty. He's going to target Taylor now. This HOH win certainly puts Taylor on Michael's radar, and you will see that come to fruition, especially with next Thursday being a double eviction. They're going to split the players up into two different groups, and they're going to play a full week of Big Brother separately. You better believe that Taylor's HOH win will put or make her a threat. You know what's funny? I think this might be a gift and a curse. While I am happy for Taylor for winning this competition, what it will more than likely do, if the numbers are not on Taylor's side when she gets split up in these groups, for example, there's 7 leftovers members. If it gets split in the wrong type of split, where there's 5 leftovers members in the first group and maybe 2 in the other group, Taylor being one of those 2, if it's like a 2 leftover versus 4 other players in the game, it's not even a question if Taylor's going to go on the block. And she won't have the leftovers numbers to protect her. So we really have to hope, if you are a Taylor fan, if you're rooting for her to win, you really have to hope that the variables don't fall in her opposition. You hope that things fall in her favor where she's ingratiated by the numbers. There's no way to really tell that right now because this new twist is insane. But I want to talk about the implications further and stating that on today's Thursday, yes, my brain is rattled. I'm so tired. But on Sunday, we will find out via the Big Brother edit that Taylor has won. And during that episode, she will have to name her her nominations, her eviction nominations. And here's who I have selected as those people. And also, let me know if this stream is getting choppy, because I'm just going to stop and just go to bed. But I believe that she's going to nominate 2 people, Terrence and Indy. Okay, Taylor to this point has shown that she keeps track of the individuals who say things about her, who don't like her. She seems very, very in tune with that part of the game. And you notice that when she's on the block with Nicole and she uses Nicole's own words, "You look stupid," right? Well, she didn't. I don't think Nicole said that, but she certainly takes jabs at people in that way. And even as she's voting Daniel out, she says something to the effect of, "Let's go ahead and have a boring season." And that couldn't be any more wrong, especially with Taylor being the winner right now. So she keeps track of who disrespects her. With that being said, she has to know that Terrence was the only player to give Daniel a sympathy vote, okay? And this is why I say that Terrence might be a little bit out of his element. This is not DJing. This is Big Brother. And in the Big Brother house, you want to always side with the numbers. You don't want to be on the opposite side of the numbers. You don't want to give sympathy votes, because what happens is once that player gets voted out, you're on an island by yourself. And when Terrence does that for Daniel, though it is a really cool bro moment, it certainly places him out naked, and he has no recourse. So Taylor has to be asking herself, wait, who gave Daniel a sympathy vote? And when Daniel leaves the house, who does he hug? He hugs Terrence. So clearly, Taylor knows without shadow of a doubt that Terrence is the one sympathy vote for Daniel and the one person who wants her out the game. Okay, she must know that. It's not even a question. So Terrence will go on the block. Mark my words, on Sunday he'll be on the block. And then the next person that will go on the block is Indy. Indy has been very vocal about her dislike for Taylor. The only question I have is, has Indy been so vocal about her dislike for Taylor that Taylor has heard about the dislike? Okay, there was a moment when Indy goes off on Joseph for his perceived showman's or relationship with Taylor. And you have to think that Joseph, just being Joseph, had to convey that information with Taylor. And if that were the case, then that means that Indy is certainly a second person to go on the block. I don't see Taylor taking a shot at Jasmine, though I would like to see Taylor take a shot at Jasmine. Are you kidding me? I would love to see Taylor take a shot at Jasmine. But I don't think that Jasmine has been outright disrespectful towards Taylor in the same way that Indy and Terrence have. So I don't think that she's going to do that. I don't see her taking a shot at Alyssa, because to me, Alyssa and Taylor are playing. They're like the same person, but just on the opposite sides of the house. I don't think she takes that shot. I think that shot is going to be reserved for somebody like maybe a Michael or a Monty. I don't think Taylor's going to do that. I think she's going to save this shot, or use this shot rather, for someone who's been openly disrespectful, whereas Alyssa has kind of hit her hand. And I'm not even sure where Alyssa stands when it comes to Taylor. I know she's been very vocal in terms of trying to keep Daniel safe, but I don't know if Alyssa was so reckless to disrespect Taylor in doing so. Now, if that happens on Sunday, then we will have a veto competition on Wednesday, at which I have no question about it that neither Indy or Terrence will be able to save themselves. And I don't see anyone pulling those two individuals off the block. Okay, I just don't see it. And also I don't see anybody who could win the veto competition pulling those two off the block. So with that being said, I think it's pretty safe to say that Terrence and Indy will stay on the block. There will be no usage of the veto power. And then as such on Thursday, which is a huge day, I don't know how they're going to fit in a eviction and then this whole double eviction, 3 evictions, and I don't even know how they're going to do this. This is insane. But the point is, I believe that on Thursday, Terrence will go home. Okay, I have no doubts about that. If Terrence doesn't go home, something interesting took place. Okay, I'm not sure how he doesn't go. So those are my picks. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about Taylor? Are you not excited about Taylor? Look, Taylor has been polarizing in the house, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's players who just don't like her. It just is what it is. Not about race, not about this, not about that. It's just because they don't like her gameplay. It wouldn't surprise me. I want to know what you think. Let me know. And certainly on Sunday, once we find out more information, I will be right here like I always am. Please be sure to go to my page, check out my BB playlist for more content like this, and I'll see you again. Peace.